Welcome back to Where Are You Now? This is a podcast where we catch up with graduates, explore unexpected career paths, and discover what really happens after the graduation photos are taken. Today's guest is Rachel Almaw, and I was extremely blessed to meet Rachel at a 3-minute thesis heat that was here at Griffith University. And for those that are not familiar with the 3-minute thesis, I'm going to put a link in the podcast description. But I was so amazed, not just by Rachel's presentation, but her presence on stage. It was obvious that she had a story to tell, so I'm extremely grateful to have her here today. I know that you wear a few different hats, Rachel, figuratively, not literally, but that's an assumption. But I don't want to spoil the surprise. So let's begin. If you can tell me what role or roles you currently perform.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not wearing any hats right now. What to chat a bit about them. So right now, my biggest hat is that of a PhD student. So I am a first-year PhD student at Griffith in the School of Allied Health, actually working at Precise just across the road. In addition to that, I love to say yes. So I am working as a research assistant at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, specifically in their physiotherapy department. Now, this is my second time working with them. I was here last year doing a little bit of an internship with them, as well as outside of the research, I work as a youth mentor at Village Support Limited. And there I do work and mentorship with African youth within and around Brisbane. So, yeah, do a couple of things and then also some stuff back in Canada. Plot twist, that is a Canadian accent you're picking up on.
I was
Um,
going to say you're not native. I was going to think French.
non, je ne parle français.
Really?
I'm kidding. My French teachers would be really upset with me if I said no. I speak a little bit. But yeah, so just a couple of things in and around Brisbane.
That's amazing. So, if your mum was introducing you to someone at a party, what would she say that you do?
Oh gosh, this is really funny. I've tried to work really hard with her to figure out what I do. So she would say, I study sore knees. Yes. We've come a long way.
She's right.
She is. Yeah, we've really boiled it down to the basics. And yeah, it's sore knees and then maybe some sleep in there too. Perhaps.
That's cute. I like that. Before we get to that hard hitting stuff, I'm going to hit you though with some tough questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
A morning person. My bedtime is 9 o'clock. So
That's late. Mine's 8:30.
oh wow. I tried to go to bed at 8:30, but it just was tossing and turning.
It's tough. I try. Sometimes it's 6, depending on how I feel.
I've only done a few 6 p.m. nights. That sounds glorious.
It's lovely. The getting up at 3 a.m. though because you've had enough sleep doesn't really work.
And nowadays with the sun rising so late, it's just
I
but the
know.
sunrise was beautiful this morning. It was really nice.
Was that I missed that?
Yeah, it was like
Oh.
nice and pink.
I will do that for tomorrow.
There we go.
When you're listening to a lecture, half speed or double speed?
1.7 speed. And I wish I was just saying that as a bit, but I can't do
Really?
2 times. I can't do 1.5. It has to be 1.7.
I love that. You know, it's like scientists when we cook and
Mm,
it says a cup of flour, you're like, no, what's
yeah,
a cup? And if it says 250 grams, it's like 247, 248,
yep.
259, 251, take some out.
I have to tear it as well just to double check.
The struggles we have. All right. What was always in your backpack at university?
Always in my backpack. Oh. So I'm known in my friend group as the mom. So I always have a few things in my backpack. I will always have a little this sounds problematic, but a pill box,
Oh,
but
really?
not those types of pills. They are like prescribed or like a allergy medicine or like a what do you guys call them here? A Panadol
Yes.
or a Tylenol back home.
Oh, yes.
So I'd always have that. I would always have my coffee cup because I cannot get through life without caffeine. During appropriate hours, never too close to bed. And then also, a charger. I am terrified of being in the middle of class and my computer dying. I think I would just like cry a bit. So I will always keep a charger. Maybe that's my like anxious self really coming out. But yeah, those would be my my top three. A pen, don't need her. It's just type it up.
You
Maybe
are so organized.
oh, that's type A.
Well, that probably leads into my next question.
Okay.
What would your friends have voted you most likely to?
Oh,
Have a tissue, I'm guessing as well.
have a tissue, have a pillow. What they've done this a few times. The first one that they did was most likely to be president, but that doesn't work because we don't have presidents in Canada. We have prime ministers.
Maybe they knew you were
Um,
going to move.
yeah, but
No
we
presidents
don't
here
have
either.
presidents
Wrong
here.
country.
Oh, shoot. Oh, well, darn it. Most likely to leave an event early to go to bed. Yep. Or like Irish goodbye. That's
Way to go. Good.
it's
Goals.
I think that's a really good
And you've
good
achieved those goals. Well done.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Very good.
That's what I've actually gotten my degrees in. Irish goodbye.
All right, last one before we begin our journey.
Okay, I'm starting to sweat.
What did you want to grow up to be when you were a kid?
Oh, that's a good one. It's funny. I actually always wanted to be a doctor.
Really?
Yeah. No, I just, the definition of doctor has changed a bit.
I know.
But yeah, I remember just growing up, having like family members be sick and stuff, and them just like going to the doctor and not getting the best time. And I'd be like, no, like one day I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna be the doctor to help you, make you feel better. And in like the community of so I'm from a community of Ethiopians that came to Canada in the early 90s.
Mm.
And in the community of like aunties and uncles, whenever someone got sick, I'd be like, I'm going to help you feel better when you grow up because I'm going to be a doctor.
And I've got this pill box.
It's a completely legal substance, isn't there?
All right, so let's head back to the purpose of this podcast, except for creating cutting room floor bloopers for Sarah, because that is always a good side quest.
I think we've already done that.
True. What degree did you study? Where was that, and when did you graduate?
Yeah. So I did 2 degrees before coming here. So my first one was a bachelor's of science in health sciences with a minor in gerontology. So I did that at the University of Waterloo. Go Warriors. Wait for it, Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
Surprise.
Yeah, I know, it was very, very misleading. So that was a 5-year program, and it was unique in
Wow.
the sense that it had co-op. So something that Waterloo is really known for is their cooperative education program. So throughout your degree, you are offered paid internships essentially in
Really?
various environments, whether that's research or industry or consulting, et cetera, that type of thing. So I did that for my first 5 years. That's where I got the research bug. And then I loved research so much that I said, let's spin the block for a master's, and did a master's of science. So I did that bachelor, 2018 through till 2023, did my Zoom Academy moment, and then started up my master's right off the hop, fall of 2023, and actually
Wow.
finished that up last November.
Wow.
So here we are.
That is amazing. Why did you choose that degree? Do you remember, or that just sounds like 100 more hats ago?
First one, I think it was the co-op. Like I got into my bachelor's or undergrad, as we kind of say back home, really wanting to do medicine. I was still in that doctor pipeline from 3 years old to then. And I just thought doing co-op, having that opportunity to get hands-on experience in a field that was relevant to health sciences, which is really challenging to get nowadays, would really set me apart. And I remember getting some advice from a mentor of mine in high school way back when. I think it was my guidance counselor, Mr. Tucky, if you're listening. Thank you so much.
Shout out.
Yep. I've always wanted to do that. But we were just talking about this idea of how you can set yourself apart, and being in a program where you're offered the ability to do just that with these work skills, with these soft skills that set you apart, really drew me to the program. And also you get paid.
Yeah.
I spent my summers working in an ice cream shop, so having adult money was a really big deal breaker for me. So yeah, I'd say the crux of it was the co-op, getting a chance to. I thought I'd work in like a doctor's office or something like that, but fate had different plans for me, and I ended up in research somehow, in the best
Yeah.
of ways, and really clicked with the folks and the supervisor that I had, and just found a passion.
That co-op sounds amazing, and especially to give you that passion or a bit of an experience as to what research would look like, rather than just all theoretical.
Yeah. I had no
Mm.
clue what research was. I thought it was like wet lab stuff that if I'm not
Mm.
wearing a lab coat, thinking back to like first year chemistry, making things explode, I wasn't doing research.
Elephant
Um,
toothpaste.
yeah. Plot twist, things don't have to explode for it to be considered research.
It's just an added bonus.
Yes, I have yet to see a participant do that.
Um, did your career plans change during your degree? So you wanted to be a doctor when
Mhm.
before we did that, were you one of those children that you had a dog and you used to wrap its paws in bandages and give it a thermometer? Did it go that far?
It wasn't necessarily dogs. I'd say if I were like babysitting kids and they like actually hurt themselves, I wasn't like tying them up. Gosh, that's
Injuring them just so that
this.
you could wrap them
Yeah,
up?
this is
No? Yep.
going down a really bad route. No, definitely didn't do that. But if anyone ever got sick or like hurt, I was there to like jump in and try to help them. And my mom would be like, "So you're not a doctor?" I'm like, yeah, but like I want to be able to
Yet.
help. And it was very much that helping spirit. Like even when I was at home with my mom, I'd be in the kitchen being just like, "How can I help you? What can I do to like make your life easier?" And it kind of
Oh,
translated into this idea of wanting to help others
it does.
in the sense of health related outcomes and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So your career plans didn't really deviate that much. Was there anything along the way that you thought, actually, this may be something better for me?
Yeah, it was. I think I was set on the path of this idea of being in a clinic, treating patients one on one, being able to diagnose them with something and see them be better instantly. But along the way, and with some experience and life lived, I realized that instant cures aren't what it's all about. I think there's a lot of value and a lot of merit in seeing folks throughout their challenging times and helping them find the tools, find the skill sets that they need to thrive long term rather than over a short period of time. And while you could be a GP or a internal doctor, rheumatologist, that type of thing, orthopedic surgeon, while there's a lot of value in that, I also think there's a lot of value in going back a few steps to thinking about, okay, what are these doctors prescribing? How did we get here?
Mm,
What research was done? What people were talked to figure out, okay, this is the best practice, or this is the clinical guidelines that we're going to create. And I think when I started to realize that impact doesn't necessitate an MD or
mm,
a PharmD, although those are fantastic things, that you can also have impact at the level of research, of frontline work and just having conversations. That's when I kind of started having a bit of a rewiring. I had so much joy. My first research gig was in a clinical biomechanics lab. So my
mm.
incredible supervisor, Dr. Monica Malley, gave me this opportunity just to do qualitative conversations with people that have osteoarthritis. And even though they had been seen by clinicians for the entire duration of their disease, they had never felt heard. And that's
Mm,
always something that I wanted to ensure people felt, that they felt heard, seen, cared for. And sometimes when we're at that end product of being in the GP, because if we're being honest, we look at the research spectrum, being in the GP's office and hearing what they say is perhaps the end of that research life, because it
mm,
took so much experiments, so many grants, so much funding to get to these conclusions. But when
mm,
you're at the end of that life, not saying it's someone's life, but when
mm.
you're at the end of that life with the conversation, you miss the opportunity to incorporate people's voices.
Yeah.
And when chatting with these participants in that first study, it just sounded like the things they were being treated with, the things that they were being diagnosed with, never considered their voice.
Mm,
And as someone so I identify as a Black Canadian woman.
mm,
My parents came to Canada as refugees, and I'm very proud of the careers and life that they've created. But living at the intersection of a lot of perhaps inequities, one would say,
mm.
gives you an interesting lens on what life is like for those that live within the margins that can sometimes fall through the cracks. So I think this is a long-winded way of saying that
Mm.
I think that lived experience of, racism and structural inequities in healthcare systems helped me realize that if what we're seeing today is the result of people's voices not being heard. What can we do to change that? And that starts with research. That starts with conversation. And I can't do that if I am not just, but if I am in that end of life role. That makes it sound like they're
It's like you're dying.
yeah, you're not.
No, no, I do get
in
that.
that role.
Mm.
So yeah, that was a big pivot for me, and that would have been I think that would have been the halfway mark of my bachelor's. And I remember I had my MCAT books.
I think our equivalent is GAMSAT.
Yeah, like the medical school
Mm.
entry books.
Yeah,
Like
correct.
I had those books on my desk. I was ready to hunker down for a summer and just really
Mm.
start studying for it. And I looked at it and I thought about, these revelations I had recently had and said, maybe not. Maybe I'm just gonna first of all, the 1,000 pages were quite scary. But also I just thought, I think impact exists on a spectrum and this is where I want to have my impact.
Absolutely. So, when you did graduate, what did that
Mhm,
journey look like between graduating
mhm.
and being a research assistant?
Yeah. So I have played the research assistant role in a couple of places.
Mm.
So I started off in a research assistant role in Canada, and that was very much in a lab, helping with some longitudinal clinical trials, just helping with collections and stuff like that. And then when I came here to Australia last year, that's when the research assistant role took a bit of a different um, angle or different lens. So I was working in their physiotherapy department and we were just working on a couple of projects. I had the privilege of getting connected with this research group through my current PhD supervisor, Dr. Samantha Bunsley. Um,
Shout out number 3.
Shout out number 3. Gosh, I should get a tally going. Should I need a
Absolutely.
list of everyone I'm going to shout out? Oh, shout out Michelle Obama. I don't know why, but I've always wanted to do that. Anyways, I digress. But I had been connected with my current supervisor, Dr. Samantha Bunsley, at a conference, and I had just expressed my interest in osteoarthritis, in this understanding of social determinants of health, how it's not just your biology that affects your clinical outcomes, but also the neighborhoods you grew up in, the
Mm.
amount of trauma you've been exposed to, and so forth. And we got to chatting, and there was some, funding that had lined for me to make the trip over from Canada to Australia. And there was this opportunity to work in the physiotherapy department, doing some work with the product was surrounding trauma informed care in physiotherapy. And that was something that I had a bit of experience with from a previous research assistantship, which was made possible through that co op opportunity at the
Mm.
University of Waterloo. And this product was all about talking to people, about understanding their perspectives. But it required me to kind of put on my big girl pants because this was a different RA gig. It was very much less structured. Well, it was structured, but you have to take a lot more onus. And that was, I guess, a helpful reframe for me to see that I kind of have to take charge of things, I guess. If
Mm.
I want something done, I need to create deadlines that might just be internal to myself, but
Mhm.
operate as if it was a course in a trimester and create deadlines that I have to work within it. And if I don't meet them, there will be not perhaps consequences, but you're going to drop the ball. So
Mm.
I think applying the same mindset that I did to my courses to research was and has been really helpful.
So, what I can kind of get from that is that social networking would be
Mhm.
a really important part
Massive.
during your degree as well
Hmm.
as afterwards. It leads to research assistant.
Hmm.
And I know people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And there is an element of truth to that. Did you
Yeah,
find?
absolutely. When I first started the co-op program at Waterloo, it's kind of like a regular job hunt. So you submit
Mm.
applications to X amount of jobs relevant to your field, and you pray to whoever above that you get selected. And for health sciences, we had like 3 or 4 research positions that there would be about 1,000 of us applying to.
Wow.
Brutal. Did not get any of
Yes.
those.
Their loss.
Yeah, I guess so. But I ended up taking like an event coordinator role, which I said, oh, could be fun. But I
Mm.
got this advice from my boss that my very first day of my very first co-op, and she said, I don't remember her name, so I can't shout her out. But she said something along the lines of, your search for your next job starts the very first day of your current job. And I kind of
Mm.
applied that understanding or that approach to most areas of life
Mm.
where it was not necessarily saying you want to leave your job, but it's important to, add depth to your character. to your quote unquote resume, because you rock up to a spot and they just see you as, okay, well, they did this bachelor's, they have this GPA, and they worked at this and this job. But you as a person have so much more to offer. You are someone, at least for myself, I love to yap. I love to talk about, what I made for dinner. And this is why we're really good right now. And just like befriend your coworkers, because it truly is who you know. So I got into research because I befriended my coworkers.
Mm.
I was chatting about how I was, I think I was offered a position to like work on a panel, and my master supervisor was also on that panel. It was just a
Mm.
random happenstance thing that I agreed to, but it was through saying yes and showing to my coworkers and my peers that, I was capable and able to mark things or be sit on this awards committee, that I was introduced to my
Mm.
master's and undergrad supervisor, who opened up this world of research to me. Like, I had no clue what osteoarthritis was when I met her. I didn't even know how to spell it, if I'm being honest. Some days I still struggle.
I think
Um,
it's spelled.
yeah,
Yep.
yep, nailed it.
Yep.
Maybe there's a couple more vowels in there or something.
I was
Uh,
trying to keep it correct.
yes, you nailed it. But I think like that has been a theme that's been woven through my entire quote unquote academic career, although I'm
Mm.
probably still pretty green in
Mm.
that, at the end of the day, people are people and people want to have conversation, and it's easier to have a conversation with someone about things you have in common rather than just saying, so that paper that you wrote in 2018, they don't remember it. Stop with the cold
No.
email on that. Just try to get to know them. Try to have that human to human bond, because you're more likely to remember someone if you have things in common with them that, or like you both play pickleball or something, rather than she's really good at coding with that one package in R. Like, it just tomato, tomato, not quite the same.
Yeah, look, because I'm sitting here with you and I can see you face to face, but people listening to the podcast can't. You do sound a lot older than I'm assuming you are. I don't want people sitting here thinking she has so much experience, because you fit a lot into your age. Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 25. I'm just a baby.
You are just a baby. I can't believe how much you've done and how much you've achieved, and your words of wisdom that
Oh.
come from somebody that I think comes from someone that has a lot of life experience.
Mhm.
At the age of 25, I think you're amazing.
Oh, that's sweet. But I think it's important to also preface, like, what is it called? Imposter syndrome. Oh,
We all have it.
hits you all the time. So even though like I look at what I can look at CV or things that I've accomplished, I still like quake internally, because I don't feel like I've ever
Really?
done enough, that that there's still more to go. So
You've still got your life ahead of you, and I'm sure it's going to be
yeah,
wonderful. I
I still don't know how to
know.
fold a fitted sheet. Like, what do you mean?
That's 99.9% of the population.
Oh, just need to teach it.
You don't fold them, you just throw them out and buy another set.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I might be wrong, but I'm assuming that being a research assistant is a stepping stone to a further career direction.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it gives you that experience and exposure to the field that you want to be into. I mean, you could do a research assistantship, I guess is what they say,
Mm.
in a lab that may be wholly outside of your frame of reference or things that you're comfortable with. But it's important to realize that, like, you can always find potential or opportunities to learn wherever you are. And even though, I may not know the ins and out of a force plate, I know how to zero it. And I know that it's also important to talk to participants as they're going on the force plate, explain to them what it is they're doing. And that right there is a form of science communication. And I think
Mm.
science communication is something that is so important to research assistanting, that goes beyond just the day to day. It's how you go back home to your parents and explain to them what you do. Because I could
Yeah.
tell my parents that I'm looking at, cartilage degeneration, and how, various factors impede or encourage the development, or blah, 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 blah. Or I could say, yeah, I do look at sore knees, and they
Yes.
understand it because that's what I do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Being able to speak science, speak to the general public is a really important skill,
Mhm.
which leads into that 3-minute thesis that I listened to you at. And it was amazing to be able to hear your research and understand it from a layperson's perspective.
Mhm.
Speaking of science speak, I also came across your TEDx talk. Bow down. My
Oh
goodness.
gosh.
Tell me about that. How did the TEDx talk come about?
It came about through conversation. It's actually really funny. In my master's, a part of the master program in Canada is teaching,
Mm,
teaching assistantship. So I was teaching a first year introduction to like health course. And I really love this idea of just becoming friends or creating community within the classes that you have. So one of my students actually ended up being on the committee for TEDx, and a few months later reached out to me because I had helped the university launch their strategic plan, and we did like a whole campaign for that, blah, blah, blah.
mm.
Lots of coverage. But she saw that I had chatted about my research in the strategic plan, and she was planning this TEDx thing and said, "Hey, like I would love to include you in this conversation. Like you were so impactful during my first year.
Mm.
And I think you have a message that would be really important. And I can see that, it's starting to catch some traction. So what are your thoughts?" I let it sit in my spam folder for about a month because I was like, that's a bit, yeah, I
Oh.
didn't think we did TEDx. No. Like, I watch those for, like, required readings or, like, videos.
Absolutely.
Who would want me to do a TED Talk? No. And then she sent a follow-up email, and I was like, "Shoot, this is not spam." Got it.
And
Um,
for those interested, the link to that TEDx talk is going to be in the notes.
Good. Really good. But I will say, like, standing on the little red circle and saying, "Thanks for coming to my TED Talk," that was like,
Oh,
oh, goosebumps.
moment.
Oh, it was really cool. But yeah, it was obviously the research that I was doing was really important. And that's something that
Mm,
I'm biased in saying, but I think it was shedding light on a really important area, which is the experience of osteoarthritis and chronic pain among Black and white Canadians, which
mm,
was the first study of its kind done in Canada. And that was back in 2023, 2022 area.
mm,
And it was fascinating to see how the experience of chronic pain of osteoarthritis is not unidimensional, but rather 2D. I
mm.
wish you could see my hands. I'm making like an axis
I
with
can
them.
see it. It looks like you're
Yes.
doing karate.
Hiya.
Mm.
But it was very much that the experience of chronic pain exists along these spectrums, along these axes of control and certainty. And rather than living in this idea of feeling like you're in control of your pain only, there also exists this added layer of, am I certain that I'm getting the best type of care, or am I certain that I'll ever feel better? And when you
Mm,
intersect those experiences, you see these four common traits, and you're going to think about like a, what is it, a Cartesian graph. So you have your
mm,
double negative, double positive, and then your mixed bags on the left and right.
mhm,
And it's in this double negative quadrant where you are worn out, where you are no longer in control of your pain, where you're not certain that things will ever change. And that was this common theme or experience for a lot of the participants in this study. And it was tough for them to articulate. And then when you
mm,
kind of go to the right, so you're in your positive negative, so your x-axis, oh gosh, your x-axis is positive, but your y-axis is negative. In that moment, you feel like you're in control of your pain, but you're not certain if things are ever going to feel better. And that paralleled a lot with a theory, and it's quite common in sociology, this idea of the strong Black woman schema, where it's this idea that I have pain, but I have stuff to do, so I
mm,
got to keep going.
mm,
And that's a very harmful and challenging spot to be in because, yeah, the pressures of society, of jobs, of all these burdens and such make it challenging for you to make time for your pain. But you have to keep going. Yeah, you'll
mm,
never get better, but c'est la vie.
mm,
And then it was super interesting to also see this double positive quadrant where folks had overcome or were living well with osteoarthritis. And that
mm,
is, the ideal for clinicians, for researchers, for policymakers, for everyone, where you are in control of your pain and you are also certain that you're getting the best quality care, that you know where your outcomes are going because you are able to live well with the pain. And in creating this axis of certainty and control, it was interesting to see how people's positionality differed. And when we're thinking about creating treatments or protocols to improve the life and the livelihoods of folks living with osteoarthritis, it's important to consider where they're. I keep thinking of the subscript of like the I, like their baseline, where folks' baselines are. Because if we're
mm,
assuming everyone has everyone's starting at 0, 0, when actually people are starting at -1, -2, +1, we're missing the mark. We are
mm.
missing those people's voices that you see at that downstream end of life conversation with the GP where
Yeah.
if a GP is prescribing you a treatment that actually assumes that people are starting at a specific baseline when Jill is actually 6 points below, you're only going to see a small amount of progress, as opposed to if you're actually personalizing folks' treatment plans and seeing where they start and helping them get to that baseline of 0, 0, and then applying the protocols
Yeah.
or the treatment. So that was what I got to talk about. I kind of went on a tangent with that, but
Ah, that's
that's kind of
fine.
what I talked about, and it was all anchored in my mom. So my mom has kind of been the reason I got into research. It was in a very roundabout way.
Mm.
So my mom has lived with chronic musculoskeletal pain for quite a while. She's had a couple of
Shout out to Rachel's mom.
shout out to my mom. Yeah. She's been getting lots of shout outs as of late. And just like, I love it. But she's lived with, chronic musculoskeletal pain, has had a couple of hip replacements.
Mm.
She just turned 59 a few
Mm.
months ago. So, I mean, a couple of hip replacements before 59 is quite crazy.
That
And she
is.
has osteoarthritis. And I never understood what that was. I mean,
Mm.
she said she had it before I got into this research, but I didn't really understand what it was.
Mm.
But getting to see firsthand what the challenges of living with chronic musculoskeletal pain are and how it can be an invisible disability at times,
Mm.
really hit home, for lack of better words. I was able to see what and why research like this is so important, because for people like my mom, it's for opening up that conversation so that you can live well with osteoarthritis.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before, but the
Mm.
language surrounding osteoarthritis is very weakness based. It's degenerative, it's wear and tear, it'll never get better. But
Mm.
research today is showing that you can live well with osteoarthritis, whether it is if you sleep well, if you are physically active, if you eat right. There are so many things that we can do in addition to pharmacological and surgical options, but non-pharmacological, more clinical options that can
Mm.
allow you to, where you are without exhausting resources, live a good life, be able to go on your walks, or do the things that bring you joy, rather than feeling like you are worn out, like you're at that end of
Mm.
the control spectrum and no certainty in sight.
I'm gonna go off a little bit
Mm.
more of a tangent.
Mhm.
I also saw,
Oh
and you'll
gosh.
have to tell me, you'll have to tell me what this actually means. You were the director of advocacy and education for the Racial Advocacy for Inclusion, Solidarity, and Equity group at the University of Waterloo.
Oh
That's a lot of
God.
words. I did.
Yes. So the acronym is RAISE.
That would have
Yes.
been a lot easier for me to say, let me tell you.
Probably would have been. I actually forgot all those letters were in there. Important letters, but yeah, that would have been in my undergrad. And that actually paired really well with the research that I was doing. So that was a university funded student council, student government body
Mm.
that sought to increase education resources available to students regarding equity, racial minorities, as well as creating opportunities for folks to just learn more. So that was something, being involved has always been really important to me. Even before university, my parents have really ingrained that idea of give back to the communities that raised you.
Yep.
I think I said it, I might have said it to you before, but I am the result of the village that raised me. And I am the result of
Yes.
the many hands that sacrificed things to get me here today. And I think it's important to give back in whatever way you can, even if you're not in the community or village that initially raised you, to
Mm.
folks around you. So, yeah, working with Raise as the director of education was a tangible way for me to do that. It looked like bringing in speakers that were, pretty recognized to chat about the intersection of feminism and yoga, or
Mm.
feminism and racism.
Mm.
A lot of isms, important isms, I will say, just in a easy to digest way. I think that was really the most important part of it. Like, yeah, you can use the big words. Yeah, you can, have all these acronyms at the end of your name, or these letters at the end of your name. But if people are going to walk in a room, eyes glaze over, and leave without having absorbed anything, it was a
Mm.
waste of everyone's time. And if we're being honest, waste of money.
Yep.
So that role was all about just bringing education about racism, advocacy, inclusion, solidarity, and equity, raise in easy bites. And it was
Very,
great.
very, very noble cause.
Yeah, it was
Very.
good. Shout out to the team. Shout out to Raise. All the shout outs.
Tell me about your trip to Ethiopia.
Yeah, that's a good one. You
Mm.
really did your
Oh,
research.
I've got way more to go, trust me.
Yeah, so my trips to Ethiopia have been really special. So my parents came to Canada in the early 90s as refugees from Ethiopia. And they, from a young age, also share that idea of giving back to the communities that raised you. So my parents, alongside a few friends, started an NGO called Hope H2O. It used to be called Horko.
Oh.
And it's all about providing sustainable water, clean water resources in rural Ethiopia to women and children.
Mm.
The name was Horko before. We don't know what Horko means. We tried to be like hope for it
N
doesn't work. But
no.
but that NGO was the reason that we went back a few times. And I was able to in my last two times do a bit of work with them and see the importance as of something as simple, at least from my perspective, as clean water, where
Yeah.
I went back in 2019 for 6 weeks and I was able to go to a couple of the water sites and just do some research. We're
Mm.
sprinkling that in there. This would have been my first instance or introduction to research and just
Yeah.
chat with the folks around the communities. So the water sites were in the Gumbichu district. So that is kind of closer to the capital of Ethiopia, which is Addis Ababa,
Mhm.
and get to chat with some of the girls and the kids in that area and just hear from in their words how impactful clean water was. And it was life changing.
Mm.
For some of these kids, it was the literal difference between them being able to go to school or not. Um, and that is just something that we take so for granted.
It
And
is, isn't it?
yeah, like something as simple as clean water
Yeah.
made such a difference in their lives. And just seeing how happy they were, how joy-filled they were was really impactful to me and kinda made me stop in my tracks and be like, "Okay, well, if they can find so much joy in something as practical as clean water, how can I ensure that these communities still have access to these things? How can
Yeah.
I, increase awareness?" And that's something that we're still working on doing today, but it was beautiful. It was very much a reality check. And then I went back again in 2024,
Mm.
this time to northern Ethiopia. So that's where my mom is
Mhm.
from, to a region called Tigray. So when we were there, we did some fundraising beforehand. I still had that reminder of those visits in 2019 in my head. And I said, okay, that time I didn't have anything with me, but this time maybe I can bring some funds. That's really important, but in a sustainable manner.
Mm.
I am a big proponent of this idea of investing sustainably rather than providing people with resources and leaving and watching
Mm.
it dissipate.
Absolutely.
So that was something that the NGO was really big for. It was creating jobs to ensure that these water sites could maintain themselves with solar and so forth
Mm.
after they left, if that happened. So that was kind of the goal in us going back to Ethiopia in 2024. So we brought some funds and we were able to do some work with an orphanage over there. I got my butt kicked in soccer by these kids. Oh my God. It was so humbling. There unfortunately is photo evidence, but I will never share it. Um,
Oh, it puts everything in perspective, doesn't it? It
mhm.
brings, and I think it's really important for any of the students that are currently studying. It's not the be all and end all to finish a degree and then move straight on to something else. Sometimes maybe taking a gap year, having a look around,
Mhm.
doing some volunteer work.
Zoom out. That was a
Yeah,
big zoom out moment for me.
absolutely. Just
Mhm.
to put your life into perspective.
Yeah. And we
Um,
had the chance to go into one of the hospitals and just chat with some of the folks there. And yeah, I had my background in health sciences and I was working through my master's at that point. But seeing the principles that you learn in the classroom in real life was just like a mind blown moment.
mm,
And yeah, it really just showed me like when you zoom out, the impact that you can have is so much more, so much grander than having a publication or an
yeah,
accolade. Changing people's lives, changing one person's life is so much more valuable than any accolade that I've
yeah.
ever accomplished and so forth. Like I still vividly remember the smiles on those kids' faces when we chatted with them about, how these water sites were doing. And
Mm.
if I'm being honest, I hold on to those memories a lot better than, crossing the stage at my graduation, although I did forget that I graduated 2 weeks ago, and I had to text my mom, "Hey, mom, I graduated today.
Oh,
Sorry if we're
really?
not telling you." So oops. But hey,
Oh, that's wonderful. I also know, I am going to rabbit holes, you've been to Stanford University.
mhm,
Mm. Forgot about that?
twice. Have not forgot about that.
Oh,
Oh,
how did that come about?
the power of conversation. We're starting to see a theme here. It
Networking.
is, yes. So we went to Stanford twice. First time was virtually, unfortunately. Um, but it was because of a past lab mate who actually is now at Stanford,
Mm.
with one of the groups over there, Wu-Sai Performance Alliance, which is a pretty cool space. I've never seen so many MRIs in one building before, but they have a lot. And yeah, it was very much through the power of community, through the power of networking, and I think that
Mm.
really hammered home the idea and the importance of making friends with your colleagues. That, yeah, you're at work to get jobs done, to finish the actionable items and so forth, but also work shouldn't be boring. Go for your
Mm.
coffee walks, chat with people, and that's how we got to Stanford. So shout out to Anthony. I think we're number 6, number 7 now or
We
something
are
like
somewhere
that.
there.
Yeah. We might
Yeah.
get to double digits, who knows? But at first we had the opportunity to chat about that study that I did the TEDx on,
Mm.
with a group there, and it was fascinating. Like, we were able to chat about this work with like heads, like known figures in the research world that I'm like, I've read your paper before and I'm fangirling, but I'm
Yes.
talking at you. So that was the first time that we went. And then this past December, I had the chance to go out to Stanford. Super cool.
Mm.
Got to escape the cold of Canada and do a presentation with them in person. So I was able to talk about my master's, and that research, and also just talk about work, about research, about, what its life is like. How do they balance it? Get tips,
Mm.
and very much seeing it as a two-way street rather than a one-way street.
Yeah.
And I think when I changed my perspective of research and academia as not just being what can I get out of it, but what can they get out of it, but what can I also get out of it?
Yeah.
It was a full 180 for me. So yeah, that
Mm.
was pretty cool. I didn't see Andy Huberman. I was really looking forward to finding him. Did not see him. But yeah, that was like a pinch me moment for sure. And just goes to show
Absolutely.
that being nice to people is really important. You think?
Be nice.
Yeah, come on, guys.
All right. So I have a couple of questions from a student. Let's hear first of all from Ola Ray.
Hi, my name's Ola Ray. I'm a second year student studying a Bachelor of Nutrition and Dietetics at Griffith University. I have 2 questions for you. So the first one is, in your research into osteoarthritis as a nutrition and dietetics student, I'm fascinated by lifestyle factors in disease. So in your research into osteoarthritis and sleep, have you come across any surprising links between nutrition, sleep quality, and joint health?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. So my research is more centered on behaviors, beliefs, and emotions related to osteoarthritis and sleep. However, in conversation with folks and what I've seen online and in published studies, there is perhaps a relationship with inflammatory diets,
Mm.
um, and inflammation of joints. However, it's very much still being developed. There are no concrete answers. But I think something that is very interesting between the link between nutrition, sleep quality, and joint health is the link between cultural diets, cultural
Mm.
nutrition, and how
Mm.
that may not be fully captured in current guidelines, and how it's important to ensure that folks are able to integrate what they have back home in whatever setting that might be into their current practices, because at least in a few conversations with participants, that's where I'm going to draw on for this one. Likelihood of adherence to a specific diet from a dietitian or a nutritionist or so forth is heavily contingent upon whether or not they see that diet fits within their cultural practices and their cultural beliefs. So I think that's very interesting how prescribing or giving someone a diet that is within a
Mm.
Western view, may actually impede their sleep quality and joint health because it's so far away from what they were used to growing up.
I'm just wondering, is there a higher prevalence of osteoarthritis in different countries around the world?
I'm
And is that
not
diet related, do you
I'm
think?
not sure. It's challenging to do diagnoses for things like osteoarthritis,
Mm.
in areas where there are higher prevalences of other more.
Comorbidities as well.
Mhm,
Mm.
yeah. So I can't answer that, but it would be
That's all right.
interesting to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would.
My second question is, as someone hoping to work in nutrition and health, I'm curious if you could give one piece of advice to future dietitians about the importance of sleep in overall health, what would it be?
I think the most important piece of advice would be talk about it. In the 3-minute thesis that we were chatting about before,
Mm.
the crux of my talk was, taking sleep out of the bedroom and into the conversation. And I think we are missing the mark as clinicians, as researchers, on having that conversation with folks about, how they're sleeping, because sleep does seep into everything,
Mm.
the lack thereof. Or a good amount of it. I mean, think about how you feel when you've only had 3 hours of sleep in the morning versus when you've had 8. So I think it's important just to ask folks how they're sleeping and perhaps even see how their diet changes when they sleep.
Mm.
I think it's important just to ask people. That is the most important part of, building relationship with your clients, with your patients, with your participants is just ask.
Mm.
Just get it in their words, in their perspective.
Great advice. Thanks so much for those questions, Ola Ray.
Cool.
Let's kick off. I'm going to have a couple of reflection moments about when you were a student. Are you scared?
Very.
Okay, good. No, they're easy. I swear, they're easy. What was your favorite course and why?
Can I say two? Is that allowed?
Sure, you can have two. I think you've had enough lived experience now. You can
Done
have
a lot of
two.
courses, please.
That's
Funny enough, they were within the same years. So I'd say my first favorite course would be Introduction to Gerontology. Now I had done a clinical volunteer placement at my university in Canada where we were able to do it was called CARE, and it was a program where you essentially did clinical rehabilitation with folks that had gone through cancer treatment, had had a stroke, or various other
Mm.
conditions. And the larger population of folks in that group were older adults. And I remember going through exercises with these participants and just learning the most fascinating stories. Like there was one participant that I had, and he was telling me about how he had gone to like 9 Super Bowls. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And go back to my gerontology course. We're learning about, how the body ages differently and how, health outcomes vary for once you reach like certain ages and like your hormones change and all that really
Mm.
important stuff. But what I was really stuck with was the stories that folks have aged with that come with getting older that
Mm.
are gold mines. Like I think the things that I have remembered the most have throughout, this research life has been the stories that my participants share in the qualitative interviews that we have had, because they have such rich advice, such
Mm.
insight onto things that I'm struggling with in my 20s that you can't get in on chat, you can't get on Reddit, that you can only get through face-to-face communication. And I think
Mm.
that seed of interest in gerontology all started in my first year gerontology course and really wove its way through into almost all aspects of my life. Like that's why I
Wow.
love qualitative research, because you get to talk to people, you get to hear their stories.
That's amazing that you've latched onto something first up. So many people go through. I know I had no idea what I wanted to be. Um, yeah, and I saw so many bright, shiny things along the way that grabbed me. But it was amazing that something first up grabbed you.
Yeah.
What was your second favorite?
My second favorite was an Indigenous health course.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was a elective. So it was either doing Indigenous health or oh gosh, I don't even know what
And
the
that
other one
also
is.
continued on your way through in your career. Those
Mhm.
two things had a major impact on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And while I didn't necessarily focus in on Indigenous health outcomes, although that is a very fascinating field, and
Mm.
actually my supervisor, Dr. Bunsley, does a lot of really cool work with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders
Oh.
surrounding outcomes, health outcomes specifically in a physiotherapy setting, as well as in osteoarthritis and various other rheumatological diseases
Mm.
with some great researchers. But that was, I think, my first understanding that there is data that exists to support systemic inequities.
Mm. Yeah.
Those were things that I had kind of, knew existed, but I mean, like, yeah, and you
Mm.
couldn't kind of move on. But that course, and it was an incredible professor, like that professor is someone that gosh, he just shaped my career. He also taught a qualitative research course down the line. So, really pivotal stuff But that course kind of solidified this idea that experiencing structural and systemic and social inequities can have an effect on your health outcomes. And it just
Mm.
showed me the importance of upstream preventative interventions and upstream preventative research to ensure that folks aren't treated differently or aren't
Mm.
aren't given different outcomes or honestly in one of the papers I read sentences
Mm.
just because of the skin that they were
Yeah.
born into. Like I
Yep.
it's a course that I still remember. I still reflect on some of those readings that I had in first year. It was first semester of first year. Why was I doing my readings?
Mm.
I don't know. I'm kidding. Readings are really important. Stay with them. But yeah, I think it was those two courses that kind of created pillars in my identity as a researcher, even though I had no clue what research was at that point.
I
It
think none
was
of us did.
just
And
cool.
research can be so many different things, as I think you alluded
Yeah.
to right at the
Hmm.
beginning. I have another question, but I
Mm.
find it very difficult that you would have an answer to this.
Ugh.
Was there ever a moment you doubted yourself? I know you said imposter syndrome before, but I also know that before me sits the most competent, amazing woman I've ever
Ugh.
met. So I find it
Oh.
very difficult to believe that you doubted yourself.
Oh gosh, so much.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
So during your degree, was there a time that you doubted yourself? Was there a time that you thought to yourself, I don't think I can keep going here?
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. I think it's important to grow as not just a researcher, because yeah, I wear the researcher hat, but also I wear the hat of a friend, a daughter, a sister, a
Mm.
cousin, and so forth, an
Yeah.
advocate. And I think when you're wearing so many hats, you have to put yourself out there and you have to try new things. And I think it was in those moments of trying new things that I really doubted myself.
Mm.
Um,
You like your
things
comfort zone?
I love my comfort
Mm.
zone. Um, yeah, I think I doubted myself when I had said yes to too many things. So I had kind of
Mm.
said it before. I am terrible at saying no. I've
That's
been
how I
coached
got you
in
on it.
it. Yeah, gosh. But I'm happy to be here. I think it was in moments when I had said yes to too many things, and it was me doubting myself of being able to produce the quality of things that I know I can do.
Mm. Mm.
And it required a lot of honesty. Like there have been moments where I've had to be like, actually, no, I can't do this at all, and has really forced me to show my hand on asking for help. So I think doubt really flourishes when you don't want others to help you.
Mm.
I think there's so much strength and so much power that comes from bringing folks into your mess, bringing folks into your struggle. Because,
Mhm.
yeah, on the surface, I can look like I have everything together, but ooh, maybe not. And
Mm.
also, I've started to ask for help a lot more. And I think that doubt, the frequency of doubtful moments has reduced a lot more. I kind of do this thing where if I'm starting to doubt myself, I think it's time to take a break, to take a breather, and maybe ask for help. Look at
Mm.
everything I have in front of me and be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm doubting myself because I don't know what I'm doing, but I know someone that does. How can I loop someone in?
Yeah, and that's wonderful. I tell my students all the time, don't sit back and struggle and wonder.
Mhm.
Reach out to me.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. Send me an email. Drop past my office, knock on my door,
Mhm.
and ask for help. There's
Yeah.
no shame in that whatsoever.
Mm.
And I will give as much time as I have to my students that come and say, I don't understand this. Could you help?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
can. The only people that lose out are the ones that are too afraid to speak up.
Mhm.
And that really doesn't help anybody. And as you said, learning to say no.
Saying no
Um,
is sexy.
Teaching that to myself as we speak, learning to
Yeah.
say no.
Yeah.
Speaking of learning to say no, you don't get to say no to this next opportunity. Are you ready?
Oh no.
So it's time to move into the morally questionable part of this podcast.
Okay.
So before we do that, though, I need you to reach behind you
No.
and pick up that sanitized,
Oh my
questionable musical instrument. And no practice, no practice. And normally I would say that you have to play an 8-second intro. What I would like you to do this time,
Oh.
I'd like you to try and play the Canadian national anthem with no practice. And let's just tell the audience at home that maybe this instrument doesn't actually play a proper scale.
I don't even. What's the national anthem?
Yeah, no. What's
Happy
my
Canada
national
Day, though.
anthem? Happy
last
Canada
week.
Day. I have no idea what it sounds
Uh,
like, but off we go.
Ah.
No practice.
Oh,
8
gosh.
seconds.
This is going so poorly. I used to play piano. What is it? No. Oh, Canada, our home on native land. Yeah. So, anyways, this is really
No,
hard
no.
to play.
I can't believe I let you get off with singing instead of
I
playing
just-
it. That's just,
What on earth?
I know. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's
This
not
is-
musical in the slightest.
I just want to say this is a lot harder than you think it is. I would always listen to podcasts and be like, no, it can't. No, it is. It is. That's hard.
That's it. The last tune. Give us 3 last notes, like meaningful. Meaningful.
Oh, that was terrible.
It was.
Wait, give me another one. Wait. Yeah.
That's even worse.
yeah.
That's lovely. You know what? That gives meaning and perspective into why you're a research assistant, not a
Yeah.
musician.
So the arts are just not. No. Yeah.
Well, that was after that lovely intermission music that I'm sure we're all feeling much more relaxed after.
Yeah. You should look at my heart rate right now.
I'm going to hit you with 5 morally questionable dilemmas.
Okay.
Okay. See, you do have a face that has doubt. It looks just like that. Or is that? That's.
That was like my fear.
Oh, okay. It
Oh.
was just you were looking at the door. I'm pretty sure I can ankle tap you before you get to the door,
Ah.
but we're good.
Yep.
Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Would you rather only use blunt scissors or permanently clogged pipette tips?
That's so rude.
I know, right?
Because I just unclogged a pipette tip.
Blunt scissors or pipette tips?
Pipette tips.
Oh,
I just don't use them as often nowadays.
I cut my hair with blunt scissors. Can you tell?
No. So what?
Oh, okay.
No,
So-
you're good. You're good.
Good. Would you rather spend a week washing glassware or a week doing data entry?
Oh, data entry.
Oh, yeah, same.
Gosh,
Same.
glassware. Oh, I
I
used to work in a
know.
bar and it was
Would you rather have gloves that are one size too small or safety glasses that constantly fog up?
I'm gonna go with the gloves too small.
Me too.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like it's a
would ra-
hazard to have foggy glasses.
Is that a song? Foggy glasses? If not, we could make one.
Hey,
I'd
look, I have an instrument for it.
Now, really importantly,
Yeah.
would you rather accidentally call your supervisor mum or call them by the wrong name for 6 months?
Oh. I'm gonna go with mom because I think they're my academic moms. So
Aw.
yeah,
That's really
they're
nice.
great. I love all of my supervisors.
I've accidentally told my bank manager I loved him. You know when you hang up the phone and you get to the end and you go,
Oh,
"Okay, love
yeah.
you,"
Mhm.
and then you just and you're just like, "I've just told my bank manager I've loved
Yeah,
him."
I did that to my grade
time
2
to
teacher
swap
and said
banks.
never again, never again. And she just stared at me and I stared at her and I walked away. I didn't even get an "I love you" back. It's like, all right.
All right, rapid fire.
Uh,
Are you ready?
yes.
Favorite lecturer? This is shout out number, I don't know, 9.
Oh, what was his name?
Oh,
No, Mark. It was Mark. It was my qualitative research course. Mark.
Aw.
Mark Dolson.
Hi, Mark.
Shout out to you, Mark.
Most useful app that you have on your phone?
The weather app.
Really? Is that because you don't know what the weather's going to be like?
Absolutely.
I thought that you got up early in the mornings, like
But then it's like completely different.
it's like
gonna be
red sky
12
in the morning, shepherd's warning,
No.
red sky at
What?
night. Really? You haven't heard that?
No.
No.
Say that one more time.
When you look at the sky,
Yeah.
red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning, it's going to rain.
Oh.
Red sky at night, shepherd's delight. It's going to be a nice day the next day.
Oh.
Now you don't need your weather app.
What if I'm cold?
That means it's probably cloudy.
It was cold this morning. I get up before the sun does. It's just, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, you don't have to because you have a weather app.
There you go. Yes.
There you go.
Yep. Mhm.
Favorite study snack?
My favorite study snack.
Mm.
Ooh. Can I say coffee? Is Well, you can't eat
Oh,
coffee. I'm not.
no. Well, you could
No.
if it was really thick.
Oh, that's
No,
wild.
I know.
I'm gonna go with. Oh, I love a lolly.
Can I give another shout out to the uni store? The
Oh,
uni store. Have you
God's
been to the
gift to
lolly
this
bar?
store. Yes, God's gift to this earth.
They have happy hour at the lolly bar. Did you know
I
that?
didn't know they had happy
Everybody
hour.
listening to the podcast, happy hour at the lolly bar between 2 to 3 p.m. every day.
Is it
Abs-
discount?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. I know where I'll be
Mm.
at. Oh my gosh, I know where you should go
Now.
after this. Yes.
All right. First ever job. What did you do?
I was an ice cream server
We touched on that before.
in an oversized ice cream cone. Like the shop was literally shaped like an ice cream cone, and I
Really?
was an ice cream server in the cone.
Goals. I want
Yeah.
to do that.
Super unfortunate time to be lactose intolerant, but we made sacrifices and it was worth it. I would do it 100 times over.
That's priceless.
Yeah. Twisty treat.
Oh, shout out number 10.
I wish I was sponsored or something and I could get like actual like pushbacks for these shout outs.
We can work on this.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can work on this.
Thank you.
Worst subject at school.
This is actually going to be really funny. I have two. I'm going to say the first one and that'll be like A-okay. Organic chemistry.
Oh.
It was an inorganic relationship that I had. I'm really happy that I passed that. And the second one, and this is going to be really embarrassing, anatomy.
Really?
Horrific.
Head bones connected to the knee bone.
Yeah. But it was online. So
Oh.
trying to figure out all the insertions and origins, just looking at like a Zoom screen was really bad. I'm even going to do a cadaver lab. Why am I doing a virtual cadaver lab? So that was really tough, Mark. It's really great when I'm doing, palpations on participants trying to find, like your greater trochanter and stuff like that. And I'll just be like, yeah, so I failed that exam.
Can I just take a picture of it and then I'll just tell you where it is on the picture?
Since then, I've gotten really good at anatomy. I just need to preface that while I'm doing my PhD in the School of Allied Health. Anyway.
And we're not cutting that part out. That's out there for the world now.
Yep.
Okay. Now, truth.
Okay.
Hidden talent.
Hidden talent. Oh.
Don't forget I know things.
Oh gosh, what is my hidden talent? Can I say public speaking? Is that allowed?
It's not really hidden though, is it?
No.
Especially because the word public gives that away as not being hidden.
You're right.
Otherwise it would be called hidden speaking and you'd be in the toilet.
No, you make a really good point with that.
That's why I'm on this microphone, not that one.
Oh gosh. Can I say coffee making then?
Is that a talent?
The science of coffee. Come on. Like the temperature, the
Sure.
grind size, your dry weight, your wet weight.
Stop it. You're speaking my language.
See, it's basically
I'm
like
a coffee snob.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, my
Mm.
pour over in the morning. Give me like an anaerobic, light washed, stony fruit bean. I am biased because I would like an Ethiopian bean.
Oh,
But
they have that single origin Ethiopian bean,
where?
Zarafas. Mm.
Good to know.
I don't know if it's still on now, but it used to be.
Oh,
I'm actually, I'm really sorry. I'm on those disposable coffee packets at the moment.
all right. Let's
I know.
cut that.
So, okay, bye. I'm going to go that you have another hidden talent.
Oh gosh.
What big eyes you have. Can you knit?
She's really dug into the stores. I actually recently got into crocheting. I can knit. That was my childhood hobby. My mom and I would sit on the couch and just, at the ripe age of 8, knit up some blankets. But now I'm trying, try my hand at crocheting.
I've been there, done that. Yes.
Toughy.
I've crocheted a super king size blanket.
Sorry.
I have.
Wow. So yeah, that I guess.
The reason I said knitting is that when I was digging through your background, and not when I was peering through your bedroom window at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I would have been deep in red if you did see.
I did see that you volunteered for One Hat at a Time project.
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah.
were knitting hats for kids that were going through chemo.
Oh.
No, it was literally so precious. I wanted to cry while knitting the hats. It
Oh.
was an organization or a fundraiser that a few friends of mine put on, really great people, and they just wanted to, give back to folks that are in such a vulnerable
That's
period of
beautiful.
time. And it was, yeah, it was a great way to give back in a tangible way. It was also a great way to do girls' night. We just all
Oh.
came together and knit, which
Yeah.
was so beautiful. So, yeah,
Oh, good for
it was,
you.
no, I actually am getting like teary eyed just thinking that was
Oh.
so sweet. Yeah.
Oh. Well, let's move on to Advice Corner. It's only a couple of short questions.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to a first year student?
First one is that no one knows what they're doing.
Mm.
I walked into university thinking I was the only one that had no clue what I was doing. Sure, I wanted to go into medicine, but I had no clue how to get there. And I was super scared of failing. But I think it's a part of the process. I know we vilify failure as something wrong, as something that we should avoid, but I think I've learned the most from my failures. Like my first 14% exam. Wow. I remember studying for that and getting that back and being like, that's my mark, 14%. And I sure could in that moment been like, yeah, I'm dropping out. Bet I'm done.
Mm.
But I was like, okay, great.
Yep.
On to the next one. So yeah, first one would be no one really knows what they're doing. Don't be afraid of failure.
Yep.
Second one would be have fun. Like get
Yes.
involved. You're not just in school to study. You are in school to be social too. Obviously find a balance between the two, but
Yep.
I think a huge part of how I've gotten to where I am today is because of the extracurriculars that I've been able to be a part of.
Yep.
Getting to see that you don't just have to exist within the confines of a lecture hall, but can also be, doing the fundraisers. You can
Yep.
be putting on the dinner parties, the having fun, the memories.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I did all the courses, but if I think back to what I'm trying to remember of my undergrad career, it was those clubs that I volunteered with, the
Yep.
roles that I held. And I think that kind of feeds into my third point being that life also doesn't have to exist on just your campus or just within school, that you also should get out in the community. Well, yes, it's important to get into extracurriculars on campus.
Mhm.
I also think a huge part of my purpose and my meaning came from doing work out in Ethiopia, as well as doing work here in the community in Brisbane.
Yep.
So getting to do work with Village Support Limited and doing that mentorship just provides you with that sense of community,
Mm.
that sense of social support that you as a student need. Like it's hard to be a student. We can admit that there are a lot of challenges that come your way,
Yep.
but the more folks that you have surrounding you as your kind of pad to fall back on almost, or your support system, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm.
The easier it'll be to get through those challenges that life throws your way.
Yep.
Because it's easier to split the burden between a lot of folks rather than trying to, just shoulder it yourself and push through. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Nice.
last one. Saying no is sexy. That's really important. I'm still working on it, but say no sometimes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So, am I allowed to ask you another question? Or are you going to say no?
Yeah. Not right now, though.
My next question was going to be, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? But it's almost yesterday for you.
Real. Yeah. Gosh, I started undergrad at 18.
Maybe 15 then. What would you tell your 15-year-old self?
Whoa. I think at 15, it's funny. I had a 10-year plan. I was going to have my whole life figured out by 25. Funny. Really funny. But I think it's just being less strict with yourself about these internal deadlines or internal achievements that you have to reach by a certain point, and just remembering to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
That sounds so corny,
No, but it doesn't.
but yeah, like you are only going to be, at that point in your life you're going to be 15 at that point only, and
Yep.
might as well enjoy it. Like you're not going to
Can't
gonna
turn back time.
yeah, exactly. So I
Life's
would
a
say, and
ride.
probably start investing. I would have been a lot more rich then.
Invest in Microsoft.
Yeah, or something like that, or me. But yeah, I think I would just start to say, and enjoying the moment is something that I'm still working on now.
Yeah.
Trying to push that needle forward on getting a study done or getting ethics or getting that next publication out, whatever, is great and all, but also you need to live. You need to enjoy your life. You need to have things to look forward to.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've tried to pay a lot more attention to. At least that's one of my goals for 2026,
Yay.
is have things on the calendar to look forward to. Because when you're just kind of saying, "Oh, I'll go on that trip, once I finish this," you're gonna keep moving that finish line further and further ahead of you until you get to a point where you're so burnt out that you actually never want to do that goal again. So if you're able to just give yourself, goals that are unchangeable, unmovable type things, even if you accomplish thing or not, still have that reward in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to get that job, but I didn't.
Mm.
All right, that's fair. I can still celebrate the fact that I got this far.
Eat that chocolate bar.
Get the sweet treat if it's financially reasonable to do so. But yeah, just give yourself something to look forward to.
And I think we'll end with a closing question.
hmm
If you could give one piece of advice to current students hoping to follow a path similar to yours,
hmm
what would it be?
I think the one I would give is that professors are people too.
Oh,
I sound like I'm sucking up, but
oh no, please keep going. I'm loving it.
but I think it's important to remember that, yeah, these PIs or supervisors that you're trying to seek out, yes, they are incredibly accomplished. Yes, they've done so much to get to this point so far, but also they're living the same life as you.
Yeah.
And while it's great to, and I think I'd said it before, while it's great to chat with them about, their research, and some folks love to chat about that, I think there's also a lot of value in bridging the gap between what exists outside of research. And that's how I've been able to create really great relationships with my supervisors. I think something that's really important that we sometimes miss the mark on is going for someone's, the only word I can think in my head is clout, over
Mm.
their ability to actually maintain relationships. And I am so incredibly proud of every single relationship I've had with my supervisors. I look up to them in every single way possible. And
Mm.
I think they're incredible people. And I think it's because I was able to develop that relationship with them.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, there are boundaries and stuff, but to ensure that you have healthy and rewarding relationships with those that you seek out to work with and stuff. I think it's important just to remember that there are people too that they feel the same type of stress. Yes, they have better ways of hiding it, but
Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah. But like, hey, grab a coffee with them. Your meetings don't always
Yeah.
have to be on Zoom.
Yeah.
Just be personable with them because they probably have just as much, if not as more, imposter syndrome as you do. And they were in
Absolutely.
your shoes at one point too.
Absolutely. That's a marvelous advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's been such a joy to have you
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah.
And I think that's a wrap for this podcast.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Woo.